Don't ask how I got this number. We met a while ago, I think. Or we should have done. There's a new...
Morse Mutual Insurance. How can we help you? I'll look into it.
What the hell? Ugh! Wow! Oh my! You asshole! I'm tired of taking shit all the time. Whoa!
Alright. Now that everybody left, it's time to do some fun stuff. Talk about our lives. Swash, 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 swash. I'll tell you about a story I know. About a story that was told to me when I was very young, and I didn't get it at first. And now I get it. Now I really now I really get it. Oh, let's see here. It's Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. He had a very shiny nose. You know? Do you know why he had a shiny nose, though? See, in the runt of the litter, doesn't build up a calcium deposit, nor inside of its skin, to be able to make sure that it can get out or it can calcify certain minerals inside of its body, or vitamins, I guess you would call them, certain vitamins, to be able to make itself impervious to certain elements. Impervious to certain elements, meaning it doesn't calcify the skin because of an evolutionary change that's happening. It's the reason why sometimes there's a run of litter, and that's why you should keep it, because it's a good thing sometimes. Whenever there's runts of the litter, in breeding animals and stuff like that, whenever there are runts in the litter, it means that they're changing and acclimating to being domesticated. That's the reason why you shouldn't get all of your animals spayed. Bob Barker. God dang it. Or Drew Carey. It's stupid, because what animals will reveal is what is portrayed among their in their mind is, I have a memory there, I must have lived there once. And it puts itself in dangerous situations. And when it puts itself in dangerous situations, that's the reason why people don't use animal organs to be able to survive, because they gain reflexes of a whole bunch of different stuff. And I'm actually coming up with some pretty good topics, I guess. But pretty good, I guess. Not engaging enough to actually get anyone to watch. But so this is what happens in the animal's mind. It wants to become more like what it experienced and the goodness that it felt, or the good thing that it realizes, like food is friend, or something like that. They say it with a saying. They go within their minds and they realize a pattern. It's the reason why animals can't be zombies. Animals can't be zombies because they're not that fucking stupid. Animals can be rapists, though. And stupid, insensitive assholes who try to stick their dick in a golf cleaner. Golf ball cleaner. But, But, beside that point, I think that's the reason I'm getting off track. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. That was the reason it glows, because the reason it glows is because it gave off a, what's the word? A mist. Around it was was water, basically. And water was sitting around it because it was so cold. Because everything kept freezing and he kept having a red nose. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call them names. Call him names. Because they thought by what's the word? A lot of reindeers have this instinct inside of them that they want to see more of what they like, and what they like is what they see. And when they see something they like, they go for it. They live with animal instinct. Animal instinct is to, what's the word? Mate with someone who is, or play with someone, or associate themselves with someone who is what's the word? And it actually means, it's probably a difference of domestication, as far as, or the difference between domestication and out in the wild. Because of the stammering, what's the word? Relaxation of human interaction. The mistakes it probably made, the mistakes it got told not to do. And the things that it did as a result of staying within itself, or realizing that it needed to be alone because of humans that would leave it alone for so long. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. That means that they never allowed him to play with other reindeer because the kids themselves thought that they knew better. Whatever kids were playing with the reindeer, they, as in whatever people who didn't know better. It couldn't have been, it didn't have to be kids. It could have been a really, really beautiful woman. Who knows? I don't know. I'm in my imagination right now, so I'm making things up. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then, one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, bright red because of all the coldness and the fact that his nose wasn't able to. Won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And this having a lot to do with animals that are domesticated are well better suited for being in the lead, because not only do they have to not smell ass, because their noses are attuned to that smell. Because when that's what happens on the inside of a nose too. It calcifies and it stops not stops, but it stops becoming used to it stops becoming used to it stops becoming used to, not far off, but it stops becoming used to what's the word? It stops becoming used to what's the word? Dang it. I'll get it in a second. Hold on. It stops becoming used to its own scent or other people's scent, and it starts to realize that those scents themselves, and that's, I think, it goes back to Adam and Eve, I guess, too, because the way that they thought was going on with them, with their bodies or themselves, they started to realize that over time, their lives, they didn't sense how bad they smelled or how bad they thought they smelled. Everyone was wearing robes back in the day and stuff like that, and because everyone's balls and or vagina was sweaty and weird and smelled bad because they wore all those liquids got like mixed in and stuff like that. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, or Santa came to stay. I don't know if they changed up the words from its original meaning. I don't know. He said, Rudolph, if with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
Oh my God!
Because of the fact that it's sensitive to its own sense as well as others, he knows when danger is in front. Hence the reason for all of those spidey senses and all those other different things in comic books, where animals themselves, just because they become desensitized to a certain thing, they gain other senses, and they have to hone those senses in order to be able to practice, like learning different stuff and saying different things, or because it is true that animals themselves have watched humans for so long that they themselves forgot how to function in certain societies, I guess. I don't then how the reindeer loved him, because he cycled them out with I guess with the sleigh, I guess, is probably some sort of like, it's not a metaphor, but it's more like that's where they got that from. That's where they got that thing from. That's the reason why it was able to sense danger, is because it didn't have blinders, it didn't have anything, but it was able to sense where the danger was actually coming from because of the fact that he had the most sensitive nose. All of the other reindeer, let's see, it's like, you'll go down in history. Shit. You'll go down in history, as in, you'll be able to create, not that specific thing. It's like reindeers, the fact is they'll jot this down because of the amount of stuff that happens, and then therein lies a problem. the lack thereof of communication about new findings and different things led people to believe certain superstitions about certain things, about certain stuff. And only because of the song, I guess, people don't understand that there's a bigger reason for
Fuck me!
and I know that it's only kind of suicidal, I guess. Because since the radiator, I guess, I don't know, the frame's probably helping. So if there's like a roll cage around if there's a cage around the engine, I guess, but it's also harder to work on. So it's like iPhones against iPhones comparatively against other things. It never. That's the reason why I kind of like Androids, is because. And as opposed to iOS. Because, I mean, to me, I think, in case of an emergency that you have, it's like, you can drive a car, and, oh man, it's just like, oh man, there's just so much stuff that just gets to me sometimes, and that's the reason why I think that I think about a lot of stuff, and I was thinking about that because of the amount of lack of joy there is in this video game. Everything's about stunting and balling and I got you, son, or any kind of I really worry about people sometimes, about things and stuff, and or things and stuff that happened, situations that go awry because of people's intent, or not just because of intent, but lack of knowledge. There are so many people out there that think that the South is just filled with evil intent, but I think that in some ways there are people out there that try to bully certain people because they think that somehow they're gonna hurt someone's feelings, or it's not what's about. It's not what it's about is creating like changes, I guess, for certain people. What I think changes the biggest reality, or the biggest thing, is it's not what people do for each other. It's not what people do in around each other. It's realizing that something is coming. Realizing that we evolved from animals. Therefore, we can sense when danger is near. If you sense a need or sense something, realize that sometimes you can't stop that something, but realize that you can prepare for the future. And I think that's what the South tried to act like they wanted to do. They wanted to it sounds like I'm just making up words, but not making up words, but it's the danger sometimes that's out there that people don't know about, and the people that will make you think that there is so much danger out there to get you on edge or to get you off your game. Because realize there are people out there that just don't want to see you make it, and there are people that are in part Republican and even some on Democratic side that see something changing, and the reason it's changing is because of ignorance. I'm not saying that I'm affiliated with any party, because I'm not. I'm independent. I can vote any way I want to. And I think my mom lied to me when she told me that, because you can vote anything any way you want to, but you're just registered as one thing. And there in no way is a fact in which we can take turns and think that something is just going to go away, or something is just going to stop being around because we say it's going to be, or because of anyone's cruel or non-cruel intent. Cool. I got a bounty of $1,000 on my awesome. That's why I like stealing cars sometimes in this game. Ooh. What people really think is going on sometimes isn't really the thing that's actually happening. It's like, that's the reason why I kind of referenced Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. People just thought that his nose was red because he was magical, or something like that. But if kids know something, if kids know something and they try to get it, what's the word? Shut up. If kids know something and they try to get, no lack of a better term, wow, motorcycles are really slow on this part. But I think the way that you, and cops would never do that. Know that cops will never do that. There's a certain part of what people do that think that they're going to go to some amazing thing, and they're going to do something amazing, and they're going to be amazing, and there is not the promise of something amazing happening in your life. There is never the promise of something happening that's amazing in your life. Just because of you protesting about doing something, people aren't going to give you a job. Just because you're speaking up about your opinion, you will get no job.
Damn!
There is no instance where your opinion is ever wanted when you're ever working for someone else.
Fucking hell!
And the more you try to run away, the more you try to run away from something, away from a situation, or away from someone who you think is bad.
Go fuck your mama in the keister.
Gotta move this car. The more you try to run away from every situation in your life,
You piece of shit. Fuck!
You fucking amateur.
there's no way they listen to that shit. No, at least not all of them. The more you try to run away from certain situations and try to make a name for yourself, or think that you're dying, or think that you're doing something, there's so many certain possibilities that could possibly happen. But realize this one specific fact that will make you realize exactly the problems that exist inside of your life, and exactly the way that you can actually fix them. Realize that no one's gonna fix your problems for you. Realize that no one's gonna be there for you when you get older. Realize that no one's gonna fix your problems but you. And instead of saying that someone else is the problem, realize that there was a solution that could have been brought to, and that a talk or a discussion that could have happened about people themselves being a part of their school. And not only being safe, but being effectively informed. I believe that now, all schools, and I believe all schools by the year 2020, will have cameras in them. All schools will have metal detectors. Because there's also kids that like to bring metal bongs to school as well. Or they just... Oh, well, hookah? Yeah, you can smoke weed out of hookah. I know that already. But what you don't know is the facts that kids get wrong. The facts that they don't know that those people who are in company are not controlling that president or controlling what they do, but merely the president himself is trying to be a beacon of either hope, light, or give someone to be able to discuss, to be disgusted by. Given a certain change in a certain political structure. It's the reason why anyone can become president, but not everyone does. It usually has to do with people's backings and the way that they are helped with company. Whatever company they're with, whatever company they're around, whatever thing they do, and not whatever thing they're into. Not whatever hobby they have. Because hobbies are cool, but you don't need a president to teach you how to paint. You really don't. It's the reason why some people just don't create careers, because they don't make a market for themselves. But I really think that you should stop running. I really think that you should stop hiding. Stop hiding behind something and say what happened to you. Because there is no 16-year-old that I've ever known of, and ever even think about, that has ever had it everything and every one of those words together. Or 15-year-old. I don't know exactly. But there is exactly no person on this world that is of 16 years old of age and have well studied that still doesn't have some sort of teenage angst. That still isn't pushing their fears out on other people. And believe me, I know a lot of stupid 16-year-olds. The only reason for that is because I have a family. And I know that I have 16-year-olds in my family who don't know me, but I know they're stupid. Yeah. I've never been to a family reunion. But I know they exist. And I also know they're stupid. I only know they're stupid because of the human genome that I freaking studied and the way that I felt when I was younger, as in emotionally felt. I don't know. I think that people try to twist my words, I guess, but I know they can't. And I wish they'd stop running from their problems and trying to act like there's some sort of thing out there that's going to stop them from doing something that they really wish they want to do. So realize, no matter if you're a 16-year-old or a 22-year-old, or a person who thinks that they're better than someone, or someone who thinks that they built a future for their someone because of someone who might gain notoriety one day. No matter the reasons why you came into my family, or the reasons why you decided that you were going to stay, realize this: nothing is going to fix your problems. No one is going to be there for you unless you're there for yourself. No one is going to make you a better person. You have to do it yourself. No one is going to build a bridge for you to get across wherever you are, however you are, in whichever way you feel like being, because no one will actually give it to you. No matter if they give it to you or not, they won't tell you how to use it. They'll tell you to use the instruction manual. Or they won't tell you how to use the instruction manual, and just leave you to it. And that's someone who wants you to fail. You cannot respect that person all day, but if they're still head of household, then you need to find another house eventually. Realize there's no going back. Realize once you offend someone, there's no going back to the way that things were before. No matter what you do, they're still never going to trust you the way that they thought that you were supposed to be trusted. They know within you lies a reflex of a person who likes to mess with people. And that's what I would have said to my 16-year-old self. I'd be way better off than I am right now. I'm not helpless. I'm just not as good off as I thought I was. And that doesn't even bother me at all in the least. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving in. I'm just trying a little bit harder every single day. A little bit better every single day. And realizing that hard is an emotional term as well. And not just a physical one. There are people that go to their deathbed with secrets of things that they've done for people, good or bad. There are terrible, terrible people out there just waiting to do something terrible to someone. There are very good people, though. And within both of those reflexes lie a certain part of themselves that could have received therapy and realized an eventual reality could have happened for themselves. And just because of them getting therapy sometimes, they realize that people aren't that stupid sometimes. They realize that people aren't that fucked up. They realize that people need so much sometimes. to be able to not figure out this stupid bullshit sometimes, and be able to focus on what they study, what they want to study the most. Because one day they're going to be sitting at a desk, and what are they going to go back to? What thought is going to provoke them? Is it going to be holding up a sign and saying how much they believe in the opinion, or what's wrong with the world? Or is it the thing that they do that changes it? And that's what I believe in. I believe that protest can be faked. It can be acted upon, and people can act their asses off about what they want and how they want to do it. People can act so many times, so many days. They can just walk and keep walking because they think that they're driven in some way, but they don't know they just drank a whole bunch of caffeine, and they don't know that nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing will ever happen to them if they don't realize the truth of the fact of the matter. It's just they couldn't see something that wasn't there. And within that notion, they really need to understand that the whole world wasn't watching. If the whole world wants to watch, then we need to get a TV and a freaking remote and a freaking thing and a plug and a wall and a socket and a whole bunch of different other stuff to be able to enjoy a whole bunch of different stuff, to realize. And you don't need to make a huge TV for one freaking, it's dumb. But realize that it didn't have to be dumb. Realize that you could have gotten into TV repair. Realize that you could have revolutionized something or someone's experience in whatever you were doing, and however you were doing. Instead of realizing someone's hurt or someone's pain, or realizing that hurt and pain happen all the time, or realizing that hurt and pain don't happen all the time, and it's just your perceived notion. Whatever it is to get you through to the process that gets you to the answer of realizing that there is so much more to realize than just a protest. A protest can get people looking. It can get people wanting to do something, but it's not going to change anyone's mind. Living your life changes someone's mind. Now granted, I have much more experience than any of those kids, and in that one, that's dumb. Don't use kids as your spokespersons. Don't practice protesting because it's an unalienable right. You can do it anytime you want to. You don't have to organize. You can just start holding up a sign if you want to. You can do whatever you want. As long as you're just out there making sure people know stuff. Realize that you might have to eat once in a while. Realize you might have to drink something once in a while. You might have to put food on your table every once in a while too. Because protesting is free. Protesting is absolutely free. Getting a job isn't. And no protest is ever going to get you a job unless you're the person holding the protest and getting the notoriety for it. You have the list, then you got the job, right? Or is it wrong? Or are you the person I should be even talking to? And this is all notion for myself later on in life. I'm gonna watch these probably again and laugh at them, and then realize through certain thought and certain realizations of thought that laughter is good, but realizations and knowledge is better, because it's the reason why I laugh at things. So that's the reason. A child looks at something because he realizes every possibility. An adult looks at something because they realize the specific possibility that this situation could go to that makes it so much better, and the way that it could be. The reason why they're allowing kids to be able to participate in mock protests, because they want them to be able to have a voice later on. Realize they want you to have a voice, not to exemplify what you're talking about, and then try to come up with some sort of research paper on what you're saying is true or not. Be better than what you think you are. Don't just think in instances. Don't just think on your instinct. Don't just think by instinct. Realize that the amounts of people that have died for everyone to get everything that they actually need is way more compounded. The amount of people who think there's something that needs to be done about a specific situation that affected 12 people, or 17. Or hundreds, or thousands. Realize there's trillions that have died because of the amount of the shit that we weren't ready for. So what do you want to do? Inform people? Or get ready? Do you want to take away guns from people so that when the next baby itself doesn't realize that that thing is bad for himself because his parents never told him? Because that's what it does. It's what everything does. It's what every person should really know. Taking something out of sight means it's out of your it's not your problem anymore. And if you say that it's not your problem anymore, then you're not worth your job. Then you're not worth the people who went there and decided that they were going to make something of themselves. And if you really want to be worth something, then just by informing people, you think that you're telling people everything. That's what every kid believes, somehow. Because they think somehow that some sort of metaphysical thing is just going to release them and say that, oh, I got this whole thing out of me, now it's time to do something else. Because, blah, blah, blah. That's the mind of a child. It's the mind of an adolescent who doesn't believe in anything, but believes in themselves and believes in nothing. Knows that nothing is ever guaranteed. But an adult realizes what's guaranteed because they've realized the life situations that they've been through, and they see the pattern, but they notice the thing that can be changed because of it. So don't just protest. Learn something new.
I just got my box set of plastic pound stinks.
And it's hard to fix your problems on your own. But you know what's even harder? Not being able to. And having no one to talk to. For a very long time. But you know what's even better? Realizing that none of that shit matters. And when you're an adult, you can make your own goddamn decisions. I ate a pint of ice cream today, and I didn't give a shit. It was fucking awesome. It was the greatest thing that I ever experienced in my entire life. It makes everything worth it that I've ever done stupidly or dumb or got punished for, because I did walk home from school through what people would consider a bad neighborhood. I didn't get affected, but I didn't get messed up or get hurt or anything like that because I was a kid. But I did get picked up by my stepdad. And I got punished. Didn't get any Super Nintendo. Because that's all I wanted when I was in kindergarten. I just wanted Super Nintendo. I got it for my birthday because it was my birthday that day. And I walked home from detention and I got fucking punished. It was the worst punishment ever. I was a dumbass. I wrote any answer I possibly could on math because I wanted to go home and play Super Nintendo, and I didn't get to play Super Nintendo because I did a whole bunch of terrible things on my math. They thought I was retarded. I did that shit on purpose. I'm a terrible person sometimes. I did that shit consciously. I was evil as shit. I saw commercials for it. Shit was bonkersly insane. I wanted it. I had to stay in my room, so I stayed in my room and drew the entire time. Every time I was alone in my room, I'd freaking draw my ass off. Yes! I practiced so hard, dude. I went from drawing like triangle teeth to actually drawing shark teeth because I thought sharks were cool. Then I realized how insanely crazy they were. Didn't get paid right now, man. I get $2,000 for. Get $2,000 for good behavior. People will pay you not to keep silent, but to be a good person. Realize everyone's going through their own certain situations. When you work for a company, or when you work for someone, or even when you're working for yourself, they don't want you to go around saying all your opinions, because then it divides their audience, and then a certain number of people stop watching, and then sometimes there's something that needs to be said. Something that might change the minds of 1 million freaking viewers sometimes, because companies pay lots of money to know things about a certain market, about a certain people. Because they want people's attention sometimes. Because they want them to know that it's okay. They want them to know they've been in that situation before. They've been in those stupid, freaking messed up situations before, and they want them to know how awesome they came out on top, and how stupid they felt afterwards because they made the wrong decision. And how much you can't do for people who absolutely love you, because just because they love you does not make them completely good. But given that fact, you don't have to build on what you already think you know, or what you think you know. Don't use a speculative term to give a foundation to something that never deserved that name. To someone who kind of isn't that much of an asshole. Because I don't really think that he's the worst dude who's ever been in office. Nixon. Do you know how many people died during Nixon's inauguration and all those, his term, basically? I mean, granted, there were a lot of people dying beforehand, but he didn't help. And there weren't a lot of people that helped afterwards sometimes. There were people that helped that were in the White House. And it's just called the White House because it's painted white. To be able to be cleaned and give jobs to people in the city that's on the White House. Because if it was any other color, then all those things would blend. It's not a racial thing. It's just so people will have a job so they can paint it. That's it. I'm done. Have a good day.
Don't ask how I got this number. We met a while ago, I think. Or we should have done. There's a new property on Maze Bank foreclosures I'm pretty sure you're going to find interesting. 87% sure, according to our current algorithms. It's an underground bunker, manufacturing facility, and...
You're a loser! Who crashed into my shit?